What a day it is for great Overwatch. If you just caught our previous match and you loved it, we're just getting started here in the Blizzard Arena because our next one is going to be huge as well. The Shanghai Dragons take on the Atlanta Reign. Two teams very much alive, very much in the middle of the pack, Matt, and very much out to prove themselves still.
Yeah, you know, the Atlanta Reign, they have, as good as an 0-2 week as you could have last week. You see down there, 7-9. Even in terms of map differential. The Dragons are on the rise, though. The Dragons sit at 8-7. I think they're better than their 8-7 record. I think since they've had Ding in the lineup, he's playing a ton of Sombra now, like just how we saw the Outlaws take down the Shock using the Sombra. I think you're going to see the Dragons ride this Sombra as far as it can go.
Listen, Matt, I'm a fan of the Atlanta Reign. They are dangerous. Coming off of a stage 2 where they take down the NYXL not once, but twice. Then in their first week of stage 3, they have to go up against both the Shock and the Titans, put pressure on both of them. They push Shock a heck of a long way. This team is really on the rise here, and they've just had some rough opponents in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people were concerned towards the end of stage 2 with, while they beat the NYXL twice, but just with like how Baby was playing in the Zarya role, right? I think he's definitely come into his own on this roster. I think having Dako back in has been huge. Really big fan of the Masa Dogman support line. I think they moved Kodak down to the Academy team now, so they're going to ride this support line for the rest of the season.
Obviously, Dako re-entering this team, continuing to exert himself on that flex tank role has been important. But let's talk about the Shanghai Dragons, Matt. They've looked excellent. We haven't seen much of them at all this stage so far, but look at this schedule going forward. Now, this is statistically one of the easiest for any team in this stage.
Yeah, I mean, they play Atlanta, which has played the toughest, competition that we have in the league, very close. They do get 2 games against the Valiant this stage, who have been, up and down. They're adding some new players in. I think that 2 games against the Charge, who had a pretty poor stage 2. They look to be playing a little bit better here. This is a very good stage, though, for the Shanghai Dragons. I think you could legitimately end this stage with the 1 loss of your Shanghai and put yourself in a good spot to make the overall season playoffs at one of those top 6 spots.
If that match was anything to go by, it looks like those teams that are able to use Sombra well are going to be getting good results going forward. And one of those teams is your Shanghai Dragons. I'm telling you, Matt, this roster is full of superstars, but for me, it's all about Ding. He continues to be prolific on this Sombra, holds records for the most people hacked over the course of maps and of series. Dangerous indeed.
And I mean, the records that he holds, they're number 2, number 3, it's not close. I do think, though, they have a very, very good support line that goes underrated. I think the Luffy and Koma, both of those players have played very strong, even in stage 1. They weren't looking the best, but they've kind of settled in on this lineup to run pretty much the whole time now. And it's been working. I think, though, they play around Ding, whether he plays Sombra, whether he plays Pharah. I think this is a team that kind of went away from your old, let's say, traditional triple tank, triple support with the Reinhardt base.
They didn't spend much time dabbling with that at all.
They've gone away from it, pretty much from stage 2 until now. So it'll be interesting to see how they bring it into stage 3. They've had the most practice on the Sombra.
And I'm quite sure their opponents are very ready for what the Dragons are going to bring. They would have been watching, especially at the end of last stage. But let's bring them out to the stage. It is the Atlanta Reign. I really enjoyed getting to hear from Baby Bay on Point recently with the league when he talked about his journey, and how his motivation affected him and what he wants as a player. This guy is such an important leadership figure on any team, especially this one.
I mean, it's just great personality. I think you bring him into a team and he just brings energy, just brings positivity. It's just a fun guy to be around. I mean, even the times we've gone out, been around Baby Bay. It's just a fun dude, where I think you bring him into a lineup. I think it's really easy to play with people like that who just have fun all the time. I think it just lightens the mood up. You see they got Ursa in the lineup here today, but I think Dako, like we mentioned earlier, Dako's really been a difference coming back. Stage 2, it was where is Dako? He comes back towards the end, makes a big impact. I think you need to see him play well today, especially against the Sombra on the other side of Ding. I think you need to see the D.Va just kind of constantly checking for that Sombra behind enemy lines.
Yeah, there's definitely a sense that the balance of power is shifting, and teams are getting much better at using this Sombra. Ding, though, has been doing it probably earlier than most, actually. Shanghai were characterized by this style of play obviously even when he switches over towards the Fire, he's very deadly. So there are more than one option there. And we talk about, you know, Geggeru, he's been a fantastic flex tank player on this team, but has sat on the bench for a little bit, so this gentleman here can shine.
Yeah, I mean, I think they've just decided to play around his Sombra, play around the Pharah. When you have DM in the game, you can play, you know, some Widowmaker, let's say, you know, to play some other hit scan heroes. Just gives them some different looks as you go into the map set here, presented by Toyota. Now, the map pool overall for this stage, very strong for Summer. It'll be Oasis, Volskaya, Numbani, and Havana. The final two maps, Numbani and Havana. Yep. Pretty good Sombra map.
One map that's looked very good for the Atlanta Reign in terms of their Bastion Goats setup is actually Paris. That's not in the pool. That's the map where they obviously managed to get a win even against the Titans on. It's going to be Volskaya instead for that control map when we get around to it. So Atlanta are going to have to find some other ways to win these rounds. But Oasis is up first. And yes, we may get to see a chance, you know, or I have a chance for Erster to flaunt some of his DPS prowess. Just kidding.
It'll be the Dragons who just going to run the Sombra Goats here. So you swap out the D.Va, you play Sombra instead. Takes away everybody's abilities. It'll be the Atlanta Reign. They're going to play Moira here instead of the Zenyatta. So that'll be a hack that comes right away on an Ursa. So you don't have that big burst heal to heal on Popo, and he gets taken out right away.
You're exactly right, Matt. They needed that burst heal, and it was burst damage. It ended up claiming Popo. As Gamsu finished him off with the Fire Strike, Ding dropped straight in. It looked like he was just hacking the first person that came to buy him, but the Briggs seems like a pretty good target.
I mean, any target in this type of meta, in this type of composition that the Atlanta Reign are playing, is a solid target to connect with that hack onto. See Ding on the side, just kind of pestering. Maybe it takes him out, so maybe they didn't have that translocator available. It'll be an Earth Shadow, though, from Gamsu that comes out. He's not able to survive, but Atlanta may be able to flip this.
Somehow, Darker going to go down now. DM putting a lot of damage on this side. But Baby also in position and charged up. The coalescence from Dogman was timely indeed. And I thought Pokemon was going to be one of the first players to go down at the start of that fight, man. He got crunched and it looked like Atlanta had overcommitted, but managed to push on.
And I think the advantage where you have the Moira in for Zenyatta here, if you're the Atlanta Reign, is that Zenyatta, when he gets EMP'd, becomes really squishy. The shields get removed. He's basically instantly, you know, gone. That'll be the grab that's used here by the Atlanta Reign pretty aggressively, and that's going to be the Transcendence used here for the Dragons.
The Dragons spent so much in trying to keep Chroma alive. Transcendence, as you saw, but also Zarya Bubble didn't work.
But when you do have the Moira in, though, when Moira gets EMP'd, obviously can't fade away, but still has really high healing output, so able to keep players alive in that AoE.
Is where a lot of her healing comes from outside of the Biotic Orb, so she still can function. Maybe that's a concession to the Sombra. Ding gets on out with the Translocator, and Baby Bay and Poco are caught inside the grab. Gamsu gets up behind him, and he is splitting their attention somewhat, but he himself might be in the Den of Thieves. It's a 4-man EMP onto the Atlanta Reign, though, and Baby Bay and Darko are feeling it now. Sound barrier had to be applied by Massa, so at least his team would have a chance of fighting it. Poco comes through! He pushed out of that small corridor where the hammer is most effective, and getting 2 supports and a right heart ain't a bad day's work.
And it's actually very interesting. So Youngjin actually knocks Popo down underneath, and then the EMP comes down. If he actually keeps Popo up on the high ground and gets hit with the EMP, he probably gets taken out there on the point. They probably just bum rush him and eliminate him before he has the chance to get the effects of the sound barrier push on through. So what looked like a good play for the Dragons ends up hurting them at the end.
82% now for the Reign. And counting. They have a self-destruct and potentially and most likely a Graviton Surge here. It's not looking good for Shanghai. Ding, no position to be EMPing right now, and we saw that Gamsu trying to go for a shadow of his own. It was enough to claim Master, and now he's forced to press forward. Transcendence now, can they protect themselves against this self-destruct? That's a yes. Gamsu's charge, but it's a little bit too late. DM also knocked to the ground. Coalescence is necessitated as Dogman fights to try and keep Popo alive. Now they're able to stave off the rest of the Dragons, who are a little bit disparate as they approach the point. With Luffy and Gamsu going down, Dogman with that extra healing there. The grab doesn't seem to bother the Reign too much, but that's an EMP. This might be the icing on the cake. It was Popo and Erster caught by that. So they just drop to the low ground and out of line of sight, and they stay around to fight. Now DM getting sandwiched here. Darko getting so much attention towards him. They're able to take the point and hold Atlanta.
Yeah, when Ding comes in, uses the EMP because Dogman is playing the Moira in that position instead of Zenyatta. He just starts putting damage down onto Ding, and then when Moira, obviously, you know, gaining some health as that's going down, like Ding has to drop. So he drops to the low ground, he has to run away, and then he's able to get back up with the rest of the team, be able to heal them up. So the Moira definitely paying off early on here for Atlanta. And what's interesting is because now you don't have a diva in your team right here for the Shanghai Dragons, a player that plays a ton of divas. So what do you go with? Looks like right now it'll be Gamsu on the Wrecking Ball, Ding on the Pharah, and then Diem on Tracer. So interesting. I wonder if you stay with the Brigitte here. As you usually, when you see the Wrecking Ball, you see 3 damage dealers with it. You don't really see 3 supports.
Then we've seen the Sombra, you know, as that third DPS sometimes with the Doom. I mean, Diem, I guess it's because maybe there's, you know, not another Sombra if Ding's going to be adamant about playing Pharah. We'll see if this works. Diem is approaching the point now. Just wants to contest early on and ideally get attention off of the high ground and pull it down towards him so Ding can come in over the top and actually get value with those rockets.
And Atlanta's comp's not really great for this. Like to just kind of get poked down. They don't really have a easy target to just kind of run down here. So they're just trying to find somebody a little bit out of position that they can speed boost on to take out right away.
Yeah, the Dragons are trying to pick at the fringes of the Atlanta range setup here. Find a couple players or at least inflict enough damage that just a repair pack won't be enough to fix it. And they found Baby Bay doing just that. You can see that Pokemon doesn't want to be in that position at all. He's still going to fight forward and try and get rid of Yongjin, but Diem now close to a pulse bomb in his first fight. That's 1 kill. He might be looking for more now. Forced to back up, but Dogman catches him. He'll go over the edge though. Gamsu on the Wrecking Ball will get that environmental kill.
It is Atlanta though who takes the point first. So, all right, for now I was going to say Youngjin was switched over. It looked like a Doomfist, but you're still going to, okay, now he's going back to Doomfist, where you needed another damage dealer, I think, for the Shanghai Dragons at the beginning. The Brigitte play really made no sense there. Like, you know, Brigitte, you can get up in close quarters, swing, you know, get the Inspire procs, but when you're not playing like a Reinhardt or even like a Winston version of triple tank, triple support, like what are you doing in that situation? As Gamsu drops down the mine, he's going to have Dogman use Transcendence to get everybody out.
Yeah, the Atlanta ran able to push on to the point before the mines were actually detonatable. But Dark is going to go down here to Luffy. Diem is just going to hide on the fringes, so this is what he's going to spend most of the round doing on Tracer. He and Youngjin now need to be going in and finding these kills. If they take too long, their front line will be destroyed. Gamsu needs attention taken away from him as he tries to weave in and out of the massive Atlanta players. And Youngjin, you know what he's looking for here. A nice big rocket punch to ideally send him off, but it's a shatter. Pokepo at least able to connect with that one. Ding on the high ground, and bear in mind, Atlanta still control the point here. They have a couple players on there, and they're quite hard to catch. It's Masa and Dogman making themselves scarce, getting some extra percentage.
I like the switches, though, that are coming through for Atlanta. So they're going to bring in the Winston in the main tank role. Winston much better to deal with these damage dealers that the Dragons are pulling out than Reinhardt. Just way more mobility. And then Baby Bay going to be playing the Sombra. Youngjin goes back smartly, switches over to Brigitte. Now you don't mind the Brigitte when you're going up against the Winston and the Sombra.
Oh,
close the gap.
Dogman, Ding was waiting for him to reappear. Even with that extra health pack, it wasn't going to be enough. Now with the barrage available, he might want to work off the back of Gamsu here.
But like we don't see it on screen here. But Pogbo and Dako not in the equation on the point. You're probably like, well, where are the tanks for the Atlanta range? They dove all the way into the back to try and get on Luffy. He's playing Ana. Usually the Ana can't really defend themselves against both tanks. But Youngjin just kind of sitting around protecting Luffy on the Ana. He's getting the repair pack. Yeah, he's getting the bashes in, Inspire. And the Ana and the Brigitte able to use like the Biotic Grenade, other types of utility to keep each other alive through those dive tanks coming in.
Youngjin would have stayed on the Doomfist had Atlanta not switched to a Winston-based composition. Erster, yes, he stick onto the shield. Erster can still protect himself from that damage.
And that time they get the pick on the Luffy because he's playing on the high ground and you have Youngjin playing on the low ground. So you weren't able to get anything with it.
Ding dropped straight into a defense matrix with that barrage there. Was hoping perhaps that it would run out and he'd get damage. He's going to be nano boosted though, and in a great position, not only to stay alive here, but just to keep the rest of the rain wary. The Dragons now in the lead in terms of catcher progress, and Diem is hacked, which means he's not going to be able to escape if he needs to do that. But there's no need. The Dragons are going to win this fight, and that puts them on very good terms to take the round.
Oh, it must be awesome to be Ding. I mean, you get a mercy pocket, you get nano boost, like
you get that red carpet here.
Oh man. So he has done work on the Pharah on this point.
95%
of the team damage. They're going to get very close to taking the point here.
Gamsu getting it. And that's an ideal minefield. He was kind of knocked out of the way where he wanted to put it there, and he's going low. He needs to be careful. Darko going to send a self-destruct into the point here. That's onto the high ground, but the rain might have found a way to fight back in without the D.Va ultimate. Ding and Yongjin had gone down. Ursa was actually able to find the kill there, despite Coma still being present. The pocket wasn't enough in Atlanta. Hang on.
And here's the difficulties for Atlanta, is that now you're going to see the Dragons are going to switch over and play their Reinhardt, 3 support Sombra comp. So now you're going to have to stay alive through this if you're the Atlanta Reign. So you have Ursa playing Ana here.
A lot of old economy down the Gurgler.
Yeah, you have Ana Moira, so a ton of healing here for the Atlanta Reign. You're also going to have an EMP here for Baby. You may not have a chance if you're the Shanghai Dragons to build up an EMP. I mean, you're not really close to any ultimates.
You're switching for the last fight. It's never ideal. Baby comes over the top. He had an EMP, though, when it connects with 5. But a grenade onto Ding and Yongjin, which is going to make life even harder for Luffy and Coma to try and keep those players up. And that bionic grenade from Luffy, well, it's not going to be forthcoming because he was hacked away from being able to use it. In the Atlanta Reign in the last moments have been able to come up with the answer here to Shanghai's multiple strange compositions, and they will look to take themselves this map. Gamsu drops onto the point here, and the Wrecking Ball will be hacked and dealt with rather quickly. And that shall be it. The Atlanta Reign look very good, and they make some very clever switches to deal with that Shanghai composition.
Perfect changes from the Atlanta Reign on that map. Baby going over, playing Sombra. You got Popo on the Winston. So I don't think this should be a surprise. Atlanta's look really strong. Up 1-0 here against the Dragons. We map number 2 after this.
The Overwatch League is powered by Intel. Game, record, stream without compromise on Intel Core i7. And by Omen by HP, the official PC and display of the Overwatch League.
Well, as it turns out, it's not just Ding and the Shanghai Dragons that like to use a bit of Sombra action. The Atlanta Reign saw Baby actually on that particular pick at the end of Oasis, and it looked very, very good. The EMP was pretty much what sealed the deal.
And Atlanta, since they've acquired Baby, have not been great going up against Sombra GOAT teams. I know their win rate in terms of team fights have been down since they've added Baby in favor of Defran. You see, though, Oasis goes in favor of the Atlanta Reign, but right there, I think you saw Atlanta looked really strong. They were able to deal with that Sombra much better than they have in the recent past. I thought Dogman playing the Moira was a really good addition. I thought Baby did a nice job. I mean, one of the first eliminations of the entire game on Oasis, seems like forever ago, was Baby taking out Ding right away on the Sombra, pressuring him out on the side, being able to pick up that easy limb, which flips that first point in favor of Atlanta. So Atlanta on defense, they will go with a Winston-based 3-3. They'll also have Ursa playing Ana here, so do not have Brigitte in play.
This is in every element of Dragon's composition, one that doesn't really make sense until the smoke is already cleared. But DM on the Widowmaker here early. The Atlanta Reign kind of have a decent comp for this one, Matt. We've actually seen a few teams get good success playing this Winston-based composition on defense. It's kind of flexible. You have the mobility, and you're also in a great spot to really pressure backlines. And Luffy and Coma definitely need to have their wits about them.
Yeah, but once the Dragons, so the Dragons look like they want to run a ton of DPS with the Wrecking Ball. Once they see the Winston, they decide not to. Beautiful biotic grenade there from Ursa, connects with 2 or 3 players, and then the dive in there from Popo is perfect as Atlanta, I think, if there's like one team that I think has benefited from the extra time in between Stage 2 and Stage 3, it may be the Atlanta Reign, where obviously they were playing well towards the end of Stage 2.
Well, you wouldn't say the Houston Outlaws?
The Outlaws as well. I mean, I think both of these teams, you see, they've used that mid-season break to really come back, looking completely different.
Yeah, not only just looking vastly improved for many of these teams, but you know, toting around some different compositions, or at least having the answers. I mean, we've spoken to so many players, and they said this meta is hard. Like, understanding how to play the composition is one thing, then having a good playbook is another.
Yeah, I mean, the meta is just really unforgiving. Like in the past, like let's say somebody gets picked, right? No big deal. You get your Widowmaker, just pop off 2-3 kills, right? You're back in the fight. This one, it's rough. I mean, everybody's abilities just work so well with each other and so necessary. Dogman drops right away there in the hands of Luffy. It's going to be a nano boost, a hack there on the Popo as he's taken out rather quickly. So things falling apart here for Atlanta.
Yeah, not ideal. Popo dying with Primal Rage there, and the rest of the Atlanta Reign are left to try and pick up the pieces, but they are scattered to the 4 wins by the looks of things. Dig low. Oh, Babybay catches him. Nicely done.
He's going to grab this.
Follow up. Yeah. It's an interesting decision, but you know, we've seen this quite frequently from Babybay. Some of those grabs that come out at odd times or for odd reasons, but that one, they probably would have liked to have kept for point B.
Yeah, probably. I think too, with the grab, maybe you think you can force out whether it's Sound Barrier or Transcendence. Maybe the Dragons think the fight's a little bit closer than it is, but Dragons too smart there. Yeah, the Dragons have a really good opportunity to snowball this. I mean, grab, EMP, Transcendence. I mean, they have so many ultimates here. All I needed was that Shatter from Gamsu at the beginning to take it. Oh, and you lose Popo early. This is not good for the Atlanta Reign.
First Dogman, now it's Popo dropping early. Luffy finding these important first picks, and the Atlanta Reign are scrabbling. They're trying to keep a foothold on this point. It's Dogman with the Transcendence front and center. Massa off towards the side, no longer benefiting from that Zenyatta healing. He could be in trouble, and he's taken down awfully fast, despite the fact that he got the sound barrier. Now Luffy, just to cap off his achievements in first picks early on, now he's going to go for a Transcendence, paving the way for the Shanghai Dragons, who've already got 2.5 ticks of permanent progress. DM is down, but Luffy finds yet another. This guy just does not stop.
Atlanta is stabilizing here, though. As they use the nano boost on Babybay, they build up another grab. They finally deal with Gamsu. They do have some players here on the point, Atlanta. You still have your Ana, your Lucio. You're going to be able to deal with Youngjin there, but 2 full ticks there. Go over to the Shanghai Dragons. Although, the Shanghai Dragons, like if you're the Atlanta Reign, that may be like the best punch you take from the Dragons on this defense, right? Like, you kind of took that one in the chin. You stood tall on defense there. You're able to hold.
But I mean, it was the kind of fight that you don't necessarily lose to like a Graviton combo. You just get players picked off early.
Yeah, they came in with 5 ults, Shanghai, and they got Popo down early. I mean, you could not have asked for a better scenario than to have.
It's insane that Babybay gets another Graviton surge in that one fight, by the way, but we digress. Gamsu, finding grenade means healing's not going to be possible for him. He's going to have to bide his time behind the shield. Now that that expires, he will have a chance to go for an Earth Shatter should the Reign push up! Or maybe they just don't. Maybe they just didn't watch. Fair enough. They were all alive, and no one touched the point.
It happens. We've seen it a lot. So towards the end there, and maybe somebody who tried to get a touch, maybe knocked back by Youngjin.
The Shank 9.
Nobody touches there as the Dragons complete the map with 3 minutes and 56 seconds. We'll see Atlantis attack after this.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Well, you can add first pick potential to this man's resume alongside stretchy appendages. Luffy with 3 kills in that last round. 2 of those opening up fights on point A and point B respectively. From a Zenyatta, that's not always easy to do because, you know, Matt, to play that aggressively always incurs an element of risk.
Yeah, but I think the Zenyatta is also really important in the Sombra-based compositions because you need Zenyatta to be able to make up for some of that damage that you lack with the D.Va in play. Like, D.Va does so much damage. The micro rockets, you know, closing the gaps, does so much. Where you need a Zenyatta to make up for a little bit of that. Right now, Luffy sitting right behind DM in terms of damage done for the Shanghai Dragons. So getting a lot of good production out of your Zenyatta.
The Atlanta Reign now playing pretty close together here. It's the Dragons that don't opt to go for a Winston-based composition, so they're not going to be moving a whole lot. The Dragons are expecting and waiting for the Reign to come to them, and we'll see who can outmaneuver whom here. The Reign will drop onto the point from the backside, so now the ball is thoroughly in the Dragons' court, and they drop down to contest. You can see a lot of shield pressure going back and forth, and Ding will look to get some hacks while these 2 Zenyatas try and find an opening. Darko hacked on the high ground, so he can't do too much. You see he's sat there on the right-hand side. He'd prefer to be in the front line or on that high ground, and as soon as his hack is expired, he goes up to try and push Ding away.
Yeah, they've done a nice job pushing Ding out, making it hard, not allowing him to just farm Darko for that EMP, and that forces the Dragons to probably go when they would not have liked to there. Beautiful play here from the Atlanta Reign on offense.
Man, isn't this just a hallmark of compositions that feature Sombra? They have to forego the D.Va, an extra tank, and the Reign said, all right, in a pitched battle, we will win.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of the opposite of the last series. So the last series, you leave that one, you know, with the Shock and the Outlaws thing, and the Sombra comes the way to go, and everybody, you know, says, you know,
well, this is why it might be good,
This
Matt.
is why, yeah, I mean, well, here's going to be the Transcendence. Oh, as Popo just gets taken out, as I thought for a second you were going to keep him alive. If you keep him alive, Atlanta may be able to fight that really strong because you have the sound barrier coming online, whatnot. But I mean, there's the power of having Sombra, right? I mean, you know, coming in with those EMPs is huge.
Yeah, I guess it's important to point out that the power spikes come at very different times for these compositions. For Atlanta, it generally comes when the Zarya bubbles are available, or when there's a speed boost. For the Shanghai Dragons, their power spikes generally, you know, play around Graviton, as they do for the Reign, but also the EMP. The EMP is why you bring the Sombra in addition to those cheeky little hacks mid-fight. It's very important.
Right now, see if Baby can set up like a big grab combo here. So he actually tries to launch himself. He's not able to make the jump.
Quite work out from there. DM going to throw the Graviton Surge in the corner here, but there's a sound barrier on the Reign, so they're not feeling this damage too much, and Dogman's able to find Ding at the start of the fight. The Dragons, their sound barrier will eventually time out. Popo again, one of the first casualties in this fight. He's often been finding himself on the receiving end early, and the Shanghai Dragons are able to stabilize a lot of ultimates used in that fight, but most importantly, Ding has hit another EMP.
Yeah, I mean, this is going to be your problem if you're Atlanta, is that now Ding has another EMP. They come in the next fight, they rush in. He uses EMP, the Dragons win it. What happens during that fight? Well, the Dragons build up ultimates on everybody else. Atlanta then comes back in the next fight. You know, then you have a kind of like a 50-50 fight, right? But in that fight, if it goes on forever, which a lot of these fights, a lot of the tanks and the supports, they go on for a very long time.
We saw Baby Bay get grab in one fight.
Guess what? Ding is going to have another EMP by the time that fight is over, and then you're kind of at the mercy at that. So this is where, you know, the Sombra comp becomes very difficult to play against.
Ding now just trying to identify where he should start this fight from. Oh, he got hacked! Or stunned, should I say. Now he goes for the hack. Excuse me. Lights out, though, for the Atlanta Reign. He's still able to get that EMP. There was not follow-up there on the shield bash. Ding must have just revealed himself for a brief moment.
But look, now that you use EMP, and what happens? You have built Transcendence, you have built Grab, you have built Shatter off of it. So you have 3 really good ultimates coming into this next fight.
And look at Ding ticking up.
Yeah, I mean, Dogman does have a Transcendence here, so you'll be able to live through that grab that comes on down. It's just you don't have like a grab of your own to really make a difference, right? I mean, you have, you know, both support ults, 2 out of your 3, against 1 for the Dragon.
Popo a long way forward here. He's going to be forced to play with the rest of his team now as Atlanta record inside a Graviton Surge. Massa has to play back right now. He's currently hacked. And Darko and Popo are split off from the rest of the team. The Dragons now need to make use of this, though. This Transcendence was supposed to let them get in and get aggressive and get reckless. but they took too long and they took their sweet time, and now it's a 2-for-1 trade favoring Atlanta. They lost Popo, but that often seems to happen in these fights. Erster's able to stand tall, and the EMP, man, it just comes a little bit late in the day.
Yeah, I mean, it comes as soon as Ding gets it, but it is not good enough as Atlanta able to take point B. A few of those early pickoffs are huge.
No doubt about it now. These two teams are pretty much even on time bank going into the next half. Maybe 30 seconds separates them, so much more Overwatch still to be played here on Volskaya Industries. The Shanghai Dragons thought they had the run of that last fight, man. You saw them get aggressive. They used Luffy's Transcendence actually to push themselves forward after using a grab on the Rain, but they didn't find kills, and then it all got flipped on its head.
I mean, they end up using their Transcendence to keep the fight going long enough for Ding to get another EMP. The bad part is that Ding, you know, for the Dragons, that Ding falls before they have a good opportunity to use it. Yep. So, the Dragons, they're going to play it Reinhardt on D, so no Winston. Because, yeah, for them, they know that Atlanta doesn't really play like a ton of damage dealer heavy comps, right? So you can come in, play your Reinhardt. You know they're going to play Reinhardt for the most part.
Listen, you know, if you're Sombra, you cannot be getting picked off like that. Take Dante, for example. He was 77 eliminations and only 7 deaths for an entire series. Yeah. Ding has 3 on this map already. They need the Sombra in place. The EMP is the linchpin for many of these team fight wins. So the Rain, Matt, it's a similar approach. They follow around with this Reinhardt-based composition. Once again, they're going to dare the Dragons to try and challenge them head-to-head. Gamsu completely ruined there. He got knocked back into the rest of the Rain, and this is just very, very good neutral trading for a 3-3 comp from Atlanta.
But what I think you're seeing Atlanta do is that, like, they're having like one player deal with the Sombra in the backline, and then they're just pushing everybody through, which is what you need to do. Against the Sombra teams, the advantage is that they do not have, you know, the big HP pool of the D.Va, right? The amount of damage that's in the front line of a D.Va. And right there, what happens is Ding is trying to go in the back line, you know, get a hack off. Masa, Erster, just put some pressure on him, push him back. What happens? You have, you know, your Zarya, your Reinhardt, your D.Va, and your Zen just plow through the enemy Reinhardt. And there's not really a lot, you know, no matrix that you could do there.
Ding was hoping to go for an EMP here. Look how low he is! He still managed to get that ultimate off somehow, but Dogman has the Transcendence to keep the Atlanta Rain healed up through this mess. Gamsu and Ding fell so close together now. The Shanghai Dragons, this has been abysmal as opposed to their previous defense here. The Atlanta Rain have figured it out. As soon as Ding is away, the Atlanta Rain will play. And look at that attempted charge there from Gamsu. He's knocked out of the way. He won't even have a chance to touch the point. The Atlanta Rain, that looked very smooth, and that is an excellent way to guarantee yourself a map win potentially with so much time still left on the clock. That's crazy. This has got 2 minutes, 10 seconds left.
It's a ton of time for Atlanta as they dealt with that Sombra perfectly there. Dogman with the great positioning on the Zenyatta, able to get that Transcendence off towards the end, keep everybody topped up on the point. So I think if you're a team that kind of struggles playing against that Sombra composition, you know, against one of the teams that's been playing it the longest with the Dragons, you know, playing, you know, one of the better Sombra GOATS teams in the league, Atlanta really putting on a display here today against it.
Dogman looking like the supporting act for a Smash Mouth concert. Loving the that chain. Didn't you used to wear one like that?
Oh yeah.
Back in the 90s.
A big what band?
Smash Mouth.
Oh yeah, big fan. Big fan.
You know who they are. You know,
sure.
You grew up a Long Island, bro. Come on. The Atlanta Rain. You know, hey now, you're an all-star.
Oh, those guys, yeah.
They should have like a basic aptitude test for being able to talk to address a bunch of gamers.
Yeah. No.
Maybe knowing what Smash Mouth is probably a good one.
Nope. Don't think so.
The Dragons are going to be on the attack here, and we'll see Atlanta once again, Matt, go for that Winston defense. So it didn't quite work the first time. It didn't hold out because Dogman got picked off early. Let's see what they do here.
And then they also sub out the Brigitte for Ana. I know, so when I was in the back, I was watching the last game with Sideshow, and we were both talking like, You know, really like the Ana pick against the Sombra compositions. Like the Biotic Grenade, really useful when you get the EMP, when you get EMP'd, right, to keep everybody up. Luffy comes out playing some Ana there at the beginning, maybe just trying to get a sleep off, or maybe get a Biotic Grenade on the Winston and then rush him, but not able to do so. So he goes back, trades off the Zen.
Oh, there's going to be a lot of charge for Pokemon. Look at him. He needs to get a Primal Rage as quick as he can, and so far, so good. 3 players hit by that Biotic Grenade. Erster making it painful right now for the Shanghai Dragons, and they will try and get up on the higher ground, but Shanghai have to ask themselves, is it really worth it now? We're down to 4 players, and yeah, they get caught in no man's land, and the Atlanta Rangers have them for breakfast and a ton of ult % to boot.
And a really nice, you know, the thing that kind of opens that up for Atlanta is Ursa actually connects with a sleep dart onto Luffy as he's coming across, and the Dragons can't speed all the way through because they still need that Reinhardt shield on the corner to protect the sleeping Zen.
And they can't wake him up themselves, so they have to wait.
And not able to get through. They get a hit with a big Biotic Grenade after that, and then they fall apart.
Popo's Primal Rage now as well. Excuse me, so you may as well write this one off, because in that small room, the Shanghai Dragons are going to find themselves very quickly without health bars to speak of. Ding is able to translocate out. At least Popo not bothered. I'm pretty sure Dog, should I say, yeah, Luffy was caught behind enemy lines there, and he did not get out.
You know, usually in the past, though, when we watch the Dragons play, they're able to turn Ding's hacks outside of EMP, convert those into eliminations. Here today, we really haven't seen that much. As you have Ursa hiding in the corner here. He's going to just throw down this Biotic Grenade when they come around the corner, save himself, maybe even get like a Zarya bubble.
I mean, look, there's no D.Va. No one's going to eat up these Biotic Grenades, but that one didn't really connect. It hit a shield. Ding, though, going to go for that EMP here. Ursa stunned up, but that Transcendence still got to be used there. There's a lot of ways to avoid getting EMP'd in this part of the map. It's easy to break line of sight. An extremely long-range Graviton Surge here as Baby Bay actually turns around, so he's probably not headshot as easily. And I think Popo's going to get caught there. He got hacked, and finally the Dragons are able to, I'd say they brute forced this problem map, but they get there in the end.
Yeah, as Atlanta, they played close up, kind of tried to bait them into EMPing that close, allows Dogman to play from a position where he can come out with the Transcendence to get it off. Well, I think they did not expect that long-range Graviton Surge, though. Sure. It comes down from D, and Baby ends up using his as well, and he used it almost to try and deter the follow-up coming from Shanghai. Didn't work out in favor of Atlanta, so Shanghai will take point A. Still Atlanta leads in terms of overall time bank, though. I mean, they completed both points with 2 minutes and 10 in the bank.
Yeah, the Dragons aren't exactly flush with options for taking point B right now either. Biotic Grenade is going to make that even harder as all 3 supports are unable to heal themselves. That's brutal. Popo needs to play it safe. He actually gets a Nano Boost as the Primal Rage finishes, so he still has a chance to get in and do damage, but the damage mitigation of Nano Boost is not enough to keep him alive. Good focus fire from the Shanghai Dragons against an otherwise very durable target, and Baby Bay gets discorded and charged against the wall. And there's not really much left from Atlanta right now. There are 3 supports and a Wrecking Ball alive. The supports are just skirting around the edges of the point, as you can see there. Masa does not want to stay out in the open for too long. Darko's going to get solo shattered here as Gamsu wants that D.Va. And here comes the Transcendence. It wasn't fast enough to keep Darko inside his mech, but it might help Popo and Co. find a kill here on Yongjin. Erster has to be careful. He's hacked. He couldn't use a sleep dart to get rid of the Reinhardt. It was in his face, and Gamsu would not be denied. Eventually he goes down, but the Atlanta Reign are struggling in terms of those kills. It's all Dragons, all red. And Shanghai kick themselves in this game. You know what? We're going to go and do it again. For the time bank for Shanghai getting alarmingly low. Whereas the Atlanta Reign still have a bit to work with. It's 1 minute plays, 2:39 in the bank for these 2 teams. We'll see you in just a moment. If you remember, we were eyes on Erster at the end of that round just then. He was hacked, and Matt, it looks like he was being targeted pretty heavily by Ding.
Yeah, I mean, Ding was doing a nice job. So Erster, when you're matching or attacking the point on Volskaya up on that top left, the little cubby over on the high ground, he's in that position, and he's playing there, able to heal his teammates as they come out of the spawn. Ding had hacked him 3 straight times. Hacked him up there, then he jumped down, tried to get into the Transcendence healing. He got the healing, but he got hacked there. Then he went all the way to the back by the Atlanta respawn. He gets hacked there. Just prevents the use of the biotic grenade on the point to be able to keep everybody topped up when the damage is coming down from the rest of the dragon.
Which in turn is going to ensure that Transcendence from Luffy is not going to be interrupted by a biotic grenade. So that's really thinking of multiple levels there, Ding. Gamsu and Koma, you can see they once again are splashed by the biotic grenade. This time though, there's no chance for the Rain to follow up. It would be far too risky to pursue the Dragons to that small room, especially because they are the ones with the Reinhardt composition. You saw at the bottom of your screen, Ding just skipping across the point. He's going currently looking for Dogman, and he gets a hack again on Erster, in fact. That's where he connects. Erster thinking to myself, oh, I'm just going to keep mouse one-ing here and just trying to keep my team healed up the old-fashioned way. That biotic grenade didn't look very good, and Popo didn't have any help on the high ground. Erster wasn't scoped in at the time. They lost their main tank.
Yeah, and he's not able to get that primal rage off, which he would have used to just keep himself alive up on the high ground. And they get Youngjin low. He's going to use Rally to keep himself alive.
Oh, he gets away.
Really kind of have to use that in this scenario. Is they do end up burning Rally, but it'll be Atlanta who backs out here, going to give up point A.
Atlanta astutely realized that they'd be best served not feeding further ultimate percentage over to Shanghai. The Rain themselves are actually encroaching on a few key ultimates that can help them stave off the Dragons and hold on B.
They're in a much better spot. I mean, they can nano Pogpo, and then he has the Primal Rage as well. That will almost always force out this Transcendence from Luffy. Then you have your own Transcendence nano boost as well, and then you're going to build up a grab.
Get a Bionade from Erster before he gets hacked. Something like that would have been good. It doesn't connect, but this time Pogpo was able to get rid of Ding anyway, and Ding is denied a chance to get an EMP inside this fight. The Atlanta Rain go for the ideal target here, and DM might be over the edge. Yes, Popo knocks him off the map, and now Luffy's going to be held at the gates. Sound barrier here, but, well, Koma sound barriers in the woods and no one's there to hear it. Does he really at all? The Atlanta Rain hold off the Dragons on point B, and that's all because, Matt, they opted not to fight on A. They'd let it go.
And they use the nano boost on the Pogpo, and he jumps in towards, where everybody's coming from the Dragons. But it was really Dako who spots where Ding is. I think he gets him out of stealth. And then they use the Transcendence of Dragons to try and get over there and save him, but he's blocked by the line of sight, so he doesn't actually receive any of the healing from the Transcendence. So you do a nice job there dealing with it. If you're the Atlanta Rain, you continue to, kind of play what you've been playing. But the bad part is if you lose a fight here, if you're Atlanta, and then even if you win the second one, you're kind of walking into an EMP for point B. So you're really like one fight out at that point. You need to get point A pretty quick to give yourself an opportunity to, one, have Ding not get EMP, two, also like limit the amount of ult charge he has so you can snowball it into that point B take.
The Atlanta Rain now do need to get at least one tick on point B. So with 2 minutes and 40 seconds on the clock, that is a decent amount of time, but as soon as that first attack goes wrong, then they could be in trouble. So, look at the Dragons switching up here.
This is really interesting. So the Dragons, this is kind of what we saw from them on Oasis. Atlanta's not going to play damage dealers. I mean, we have not seen it this far. I mean, most likely, if they see this, maybe they go over to, like, Winston on Pogpo and then have Baby Bay play Sombra, but then what are you going to do to deal with this Pharah?
As soon as they
Pharah in the choke is just going to put down so much damage.
I mean, I feel like you don't want to necessarily play Reinhardt against this now. We'll see what Pogpo switch is going to be.
No, I mean, this is the same switch they made on Oasis, yeah. Does Dogman play more? Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Pressure the enemy Widowmaker. Hack the Pharah, so she cannot remain suspended in midair, but the Arena have already lost time. Just switching here is giving the Dragons 30 seconds, 40 seconds off the clock.
Yeah, I mean, they have DM protected by Luffy and Youngjin. So you're going to have the Ana and the Brigitte playing around the Widowmaker. Ding up in the sky, playing the Pharah already almost as a barrage. 85% of barrage. We're like, maybe 30, maybe a minute into the game now.
This time, instead of waiting for the Dragons to contest them, Atlanta don't have the luxury of sitting out in the open and daring their opponents to fight. They have to take the fight to the Dragons, and that's what they're trying to do here. Luffy did get hacked there, but Ding is free to get a lot of damage here onto the point, and he's happy to get rid of Erster. Erster's been focused down so hard by Ding, not only on the Sombra, but now the Pharah too. And that's that. The Atlanta Rain get cleaned off, and they are running out of time. It's 1 minute, 15 seconds left.
Atlanta tries to set up a dive there, so they actually, Baby Bay gets a hack onto Luffy, and then Popo and Dako go up there with him. and they're able to just have Gamsu come up, pile drive. You have Youngjin there as well, keep Luffy alive, and then he just drops a biotic grenade down at his feet. You get the anti-heal on the Popo and Dako. You can't keep both those players alive. The push falls apart for Atlanta.
Well, it's about that time, Matt. The Atlanta Reign have to come up with the answer now. They don't have a lot of ultimates. They kind of switched, not too late, but still, it'd have to be the coalescence to get them started. DM trying to play out of line of sight. I don't know if the Reign were aware of him, but they are now because he peeked that corner. Ding just wants to get rockets inside that bumper. Pressure damage down on towards Poco. Put stress on the healing resources of the Reign, which are going to struggle now with Ursa getting by the grenade. And look how low those health bars are. And Ding's going to get given a nano boost here. Up high in the sky, and now he can play more aggressively because he's more durable, and he does just that. Ursa gets yet another rocket dumped on top of him, and the Atlanta Reign are going to get bundled unceremoniously out of Volskaya here. The Shanghai Dragons, having already captured point A, are in position to win the map.
Knowing you look at the Dragons and they don't have a diva in the lineup, you think maybe you can take advantage of them with some different types of comps. And the Dragons just look at Atlanta. They know that they're not going to play something with a lot of damage dealers heavy. Nothing to deal with the damage dealers of the Shanghai Dragons. As they get a hold there on point A. They will take map number 2 to tie the series up.
Just very clever. Shanghai had the ace in the hole that entire time, and once they produced it, the Reign didn't have an answer. It's one apiece. We're tied, heading into halftime.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
Pass into the iris. Pass into the iris.
The Atlanta Reign is still looking to get their first win in Stage 3, but the Dragons aren't making it easy for them. After some nice fire play, we're all tied up at the half. Blizzard Arena, we are live. Make some noise, because it is a fantastic Thursday here in Los Angeles. We've got Zoe, we've got Bren, and another tight series on our hands. Already, we saw Houston with a major upset. This one, a very even match coming in.
Yeah, and honestly, this is what I wanted to see from that. This is the test for Atlanta Reign. Can they go up against the mid to high field teams? And they really, really can. And both of those teams are doing an excellent job right now. Loved the first map. Atlanta Reign came in very, very strong with some set strats. They really tried hard to take Ding Sombra out of the equation, and successfully so.
This is what I was talking about on the Watchpoint pre-show, was Atlanta Reign's biggest strength being their coaching staff and having set strategies coming into each map. They were very prepared for the Shanghai Dragons. They didn't let them get away with anything when they were running the DPS compositions. You can see on your screen here, they countered it almost. They ran Baby Bay on the Sombra, Dogman on the Moira as well. They weren't allowing it, using the healing output to sort of counteract it. all very nice. Very nice play from the
Darko did a
Atlanta Reign.
fantastic job in that second round to really shut down Ding's Farah. He was constantly pressuring that Farah, and even though at the very beginning of the round, Ding did get quite a lot done, I do think Darko did a fantastic job there really to shut him down as much as he could.
He's one of our favorite divas to watch for sure. We're always singing his praises backstage, but let's talk about this second map because there were so many points scored. We went to Volskaya. Bren, what do you got for us today?
Yeah, I've got an insights powered by Intel for us, and it's basically explaining what Atlanta Reign were doing well to sort of counteract Shanghai. In the pre-show today, we said that Atlanta Reign are a slow-paced team. They need to start playing more aggressive. It's exactly what they started doing. You can see here, I want you to focus on Massa on the Lucio for now. And what he's going to try and do is loop around and get a boop onto Gamsu, and again, aggressive play. The entire team now, you're going to start to see them. Poppo's going to jump down onto the low ground, put a ton of pressure onto Gamsu, get him very low. Again, forcing his team to dedicate resources. Here comes Massa coming in with the boop, and they force Gamsu again into the backline. So splitting off the Atlanta Reign completely. This is excellent. They need to be doing this all the time because while all this is going on, again, you're running Ding on the Sombra, but he's not really getting the maximum value. You need to be forcing them to respond to you in response to your own aggression. So we move over to this point here. I'll pause it again. You see Ding, he's got the EMP up there. Now Atlanta Reign, they know this, and they know they need to play aggressively into them so they can force the fight in their favor. Ding feels pressured now. You're going to start to see them putting tons of damage into Gamsu again. Ding uses the EMP, but it's too little too late. Dogman was hiding, comes back in with a Transcendence as well afterwards, and they just clean up the fight afterwards. Now, yes, they didn't win the map, but if they continue this going forwards, this is very, very good for the Atlanta Reign because this is our #1 concern with this team is because they play so slow-paced, and now that they're stepping it up, this is very good. I mean, I can foresee them actually taking this map if they keep playing this way. But that is the issue, because Atlanta Reign in the past have often dropped the ball when it comes to the later series, so the later parts of the series.
So let's talk about that later part of the series. It's coming up in the second half here, Zoe, and our next map is Numbani. We saw it earlier on the graphics. We haven't seen a lot of Havana from these two teams.
Yeah, that's right. So Havana still a big question mark. Numbani, definitely one of those maps where, I mean, Shanghai Dragons will be throwing out their Farah play again. So it's going to be on Darko and Co to really shut that down. And I do think they can definitely do it. Havana, not sure. Completely up in the air.
So you both went with Shanghai on the pre-show. In fact, all of our analysts are at Shanghai.
I feel like flip-flopping. I'm not going to lie.
Are you doing it right now?
You're going to pull a Brent
happening?
Special? I think today's the day where I pull the Brent special.
I like
and I think Atlanta is going to take it.
It's tied up at the half. I think that's very fair. She's going Atlanta. We got a lot of happy fans. Who's cheering for Shanghai here in the second half? We got that front row getting fired up. It's going to be a great series, and we can't wait to bring you Game 3 after this.
일단 제 이 프로게이머라는 직업이 저의 첫 사회 생활이면서 첫 직업이었는데 미국에서 쭉 일하고 있는데요.
부모님들은 그냥 열심히 하라 정도? 그냥 이제 네가 할 거 일 찾았으니까 열심히 해봐라 그 정도?
주는 것 같아요. 근데 뭐 제 입장에서는 당연히 다 부셔버리고 오겠다는 마인드로 게임 하는 것 같아요.
There's nothing we like more than a nice tight scoreline coming into half-time. It means that these next two Escort maps are going to be very important and very impactful. Obviously, Hybrid first and then Escort between the Atlanta Reign and the Dragons map, who are one apiece, but that Volskaya map was anything but disparate. We did down to 3 playthroughs on that?
Yeah, pretty much. No, well, 2 full ones, yeah. But I think it was pretty good from the Atlanta Reign. Like the first half of this series, like I mean, with how well you played the Shanghai last week, and then same with the Titans. Like you knew they were going to come in here and put a good effort against the Dragons. You just thought the Dragons with the Sombra composition, with just how strong I think it can be at times, could have just snowballed it with just by using the Sombra, which they have not. Atlanta has really done a nice job adjusting to that in the series.
Let's have a look at what Atlanta have had to do. I mean, this is...
Look at this schedule.
It does get easier, in all fairness. Not right away, though. The Seoul Dynasty are one of those teams who are now vying for, top 5 status. They've gotten 3 maps, so 1/3 of their maps from the Shock and Titans games, which is kind of impressive. You look at their... what does this do to you as a team,
This would be a huge win for Atlanta, looking at their schedule. I mean, if you're able to win this, then you go into the Seoul series. Numbani coming up next to Havana. After that, you go into the Seoul match, I think that is kind of winnable if you're able to play close with the Shock, the Titans, and beat the Dragons. Philly, they have not looked great at this moment in time. You may be able to make a playoff run here in Stage 3. I would say, though, Atlanta, like, they don't really need to, really kind of push and force to the Stage 3 playoffs. For me, if they can get into the play-ins and be like a 9 or a 10, right? Just stay in that range and work on their game. They are a very dangerous team.
Both the Dragons and the Reign are undefeated on the map of Numbani. And with the Reign on defense here, it's a similar setup to what we saw from them on Volskaya. Less of a composition, more of a philosophy about playing defense on a lot of these hybrid or assault type maps with single points to be captured. Yongjin on the Doomfist here. But switching compositions now for the Dragons after seeing what the Reign had.
Interesting. So they come out with Ding on D.Va, which is something we have not seen from the Dragons. Maybe they're trying to force Atlanta into a change. They come around the corner. Dogman, they did change their composition a little bit at Atlanta. They're running on a break Lucio instead of the break, so no Zen in play. But yeah, I mean, now we're going to get to see Ding on the D.Va here for the Dragons. Is the Atlanta Reign have kind of pushed them off of Sombra.
And they had to look good here, Matt. This is, this is how you justify, obviously, having Ding in the starting roster constantly. If the Sombra play doesn't work out, if the gimmick sort of falls apart, then you have to have another answer. That's 4 with Dogman. Huge connection with that Biotic Grenade, and the Dragons, they kind of just had to shrug it off and keep pushing on. They were able to find Erster, though. Ding harassing from that high ground, and Dogman can't do too much about that right now. He's more focused on keeping these tanks alive.
As Pokpo is trying to contest the point, this will be 2 ticks here for the Dragons. Is Atlanta going to have to give this one up? So Shanghai, even though they do get hit with a big Biotic Grenade, able to push on through, they just play the D.Va here for first point, so maybe just a little bit of a set strategy that they had coming in. They now go back to playing Sombra.
I hear having extra heroes that can fly probably helps, especially if they're trying to use that D.Va to harass supports. Babybase very low though. Dogman went for that nano boost here onto Pokpo, and well, that worked pretty well. Lifting Coma already getting crunched. And a forced translocation from Ding means that Atlanta Reign might try and play a bit of a close game here. Play a bit of spawn camp for as long as they can.
Yeah, I mean, I think you want to. When you have, right now, when you're playing the Winston, I don't know if you want to play Winston all of Numbani. I think eventually you're going to want to go over to Reinhardt, so you may as well play close. Force ultimate's out, use the Primal Rage. Big shatter here from Gamsu, as you're going to have Ursa use his rally, but the keeping nobody alive there. As, you know, Gamsu does get knocked off the side by Pukpo. They reset though.
You gotta want to see Reinhardt here from Atlanta, right?
Yeah, I think you'll see a switch potentially. You know, maybe because you have does Dako have self-destruct or just get knocked out of Mechas? We're gonna take a look at that Gamsu shatter. Dako will stay on Diva because you have the self-destruct here, but no shield. Walk up, hit the shatter. Not too difficult there from Gamsu.
I mean, there was a shield, it just wasn't big, and it wasn't large enough to cover the rest of the rain, and that's what happens when you have that Winston. You don't have a static shield, and there are far more opportunities for Reinhardt to walk up, press Q, and get a heck of a lot of value. More than he normally would. Ding, frustrating there. He actually would have had the full hack if his target wasn't knocked out of his line of sight there. Darko's going to go in now for that self-destruct play. The Transcendence wouldn't have protected the Dragons, but DM knocked to the ground now. The Dragons look very good on this attacking side here. Popo and Dogman go down early, and the Rangers seem to be in disarray.
Yeah, and I think the worst part about it for Atlanta is that Ding holds on to this EMP, so you come into the next fight, Gamsu probably gets Shatter, so you're going to have EMP Shatter. Really nice combo to use there.
It's pretty insane, actually. Shanghai have 11 kills with 45 eliminations. That's how much one another is involved in getting these kills.
Let's see what they decide to do. Do you use EMP without it? See Masa hiding to the side. He wants to get the sound barrier off when the EMP comes down. Rally use here.
Yeah, perfect.
Oh, they come right around the corner and they just go with the shatter.
Popo got hacked, Matt. He was standing up on the payload, and Ding is able to hack him. So Gamsu just took his time, waited for an opportunity to go for an Earth Shatter, and then just, again, press Q.
And here's the worst part about like Masa's job right now is he has to hide because he doesn't want the EMP to go off and then not be able to use sound barrier. The Dragons know that though, so they just play completely off to the side. That is a grab that gets absolutely nothing. The EMP good there though. The sound barrier comes down, but it's going to be Transcendence here for the Dragons to keep them topped up.
Yeah, lucky for the Dragons. The rest of their ultimates do actually come out and get them some value. It's just Masa now left on the payload. Behind them is a desuited Darko. Looking very sad as he'd have no opportunity to help his team out. And that, as far as times go for Numbani, is ferociously fast.
I mean, nothing really Atlanta could do there at the end when they knew Ding had the EMP. They couldn't use sound barrier. They needed to wait. Doesn't save him in the end on the attack Atlanta after this.
Coca-Cola is the official refreshment of the Overwatch League.
Огонь по готовности. Apagando las luces.
Pass into the iris.
Well, the Atlanta Reign struggled there on that first defense. The Shanghai Dragons, 3 minutes and 21 seconds on the clock. That is quite a sight to see. My favorite part of these stages has been the homestands.
Oh, yeah.
Well, tickets for the Atlanta one are close to selling out. At this rate, the Reign might not have to travel because they're getting boomed back to Georgia by the Dragons on this map. Atlanta Reign, atlreign.com for tickets.
And no, Atlanta, always awesome in terms of events. Done an Overwatch event down there, Call of Duty, we used to go to Atlanta. Atlanta, always a good time. Not a good time for Atlanta on their defense, though. The Dragons 3 minutes 21 on the clock here on Numbani. A ton of time in the bank. Atlanta's attack needs to be really good. They can't afford to lose many fights if they want to match that time.
So straight to the high ground now for the Rain. And they will have a little bit of resistance. We actually see a defensive Winston now for the Dragons. Kamsu, for the most part, have been playing Reinhardt or Wrecking Ball in this series.
Yeah, they have Dink playing the Diva as well on defense here. So no Sombra in play. They ran the Sombra a lot on Volskaya. Diva really strong on this map, especially here early on for high ground control.
The Atlanta Rain transition to the point here after getting rid of Youngjin. And it's going to make it harder, I guess, for Shanghai to stand and fight here. Not only are they playing against a Reinhardt comp with Winston, but they don't have a Brigitte anymore. It was just a matter of time before they would fall apart here. Gamsu drops down, but there's no more healing for him. It all got spent on those early trades, and the Atlanta Rain make that look very clean.
They take fight. First point, Ding immediately goes over to Sombra. Gamsu going to bring out the Rhine, so compositional switches for the Shanghai Dragons right away. First point, Numbani has a lot of really good high ground. Probably why you want the Winston and Diva.
What about second point, Matt?
You know, there is some high ground here on second point, but, you know, from point A to point B, it's really, you know, just kind of flowing through those streets.
It's a bit more spread out than high ground as well, isn't it? Not as defensible.
And you're not really dealing with, like, any type of, like, hit scan play in the game, right? You're not, like, worried about, like, Widowmakers on the high ground here, Soldier 76. There's so many tanks, like, not as much of a worry.
Well, the Atlanta Rain want to fight again, and Ding's already switched off that Diva. He's not having any of it back to his Sombra. There won't be much of a chance in this fight to generate an EMP, and so that Sombra might not actually be a relevant factor until we're onto the last stage of this map at this rate, because the Atlanta Rain are not stopping for anybody. DM eliminated before he even touched the ground.
Yeah, and all you had to do there for Atlanta was use your rally. So Ding will get on the payload, contest it for a second, translocate right away. Just trying to stall it. Maybe his teammates can make it back, but it looks like the Dragon's gonna have to give that one up.
Is this the lack of Diva for Shanghai that's hurting him, Matt, or what's going on?
I think it's also, well, I think when you play Sombra, you're just playing around EMP. So if he's not able to farm the EMP up pretty quick, you already lose your Lucio. You're not able to use Sound Barrier to keep everybody alive. To use those resources to keep people up, to get that EMP, you're gonna lose fights like that.
Gamsu, shield is low and he is already out in the open. He needs to be careful. The Atlanta Rain don't want to give him a chance to escape here, and already Luffy and Trevor have gone down. Yeah, there's going to be a Graviton Surge, but the Transcendence and Sound Barrier kind of get laid over the top. So come on, Rain, calm down. That's generally something you want to avoid doing, but they win the fight convincingly. They're going to be running headlong now into an EMP, and not having a support ultimate to say it could be dangerous. The Dragons, it's now or never on this map.
Yeah, they're going to get EMP'd here. See if Ding can make it back, because it's going to be Baby Bay locking some players in the right spawn door with that grab.
Yeah, this grab makes it impossible for the Dragons to have followed up on the EMP that Ding was surely going to bring into this fight. So sure enough, they get hacked. Baby Bay goes down. It's a 2-2 trade now. Both teams playing with 4, should I say. But Ding, I think his job is far from done. He's found Dogman, and that payload sits tantalizing close towards the end of the map, but not quite there.
You know, look, they did get the Dragons to use both Sound Barrier and Transcendence there. No rally available for the Dragons here as well. So you'll cut back if you're Atlanta, you can rally on in. And maybe you end up getting your self-destruct here with Dako, and you're able to make a play. A lot of open space here towards the end. Look, you could like rally, get the speed boost, get onto Gamsu, maybe hit a bash from behind, then get a self-destruct.
The Rain, they layered support ultimates and they paid for it. Simple as that. They have a rally at least though, and they're close to a Transcendence, so they push up here. Looks like Dogman and Erster both got knocked down. I think it was Erster knocked down, Dogman stunned up by a Brigitte after the fact, but Youngjin still removed. EMP comes out here. Maybe it's a little bit late in the day, go, because Gamsu needed help so badly, and it wasn't an EMP that it required. And it will be Atlanta getting home. They were probably close to reaching record time for attacks on this map. That time has been cut down a little bit after that failed attempt to finish the map, but as it stands, Shanghai 3 minutes 21 on the clock, Atlanta Rain 3 minutes 43, and we're going back for some extra Overwatch. We've seen so much of this map, Matt. So quickly. Both of these teams, well, very successful attackers, but both not good when it comes to that defense.
I think when you had to play D.Va for Shanghai, obviously they want to play D.Va on first point because you know, D.Va's very good for the high ground, right? To get, you know, be able to protect the Winston.
Pressure support
but
as well.
When they switch off of Winston D.Va, now go over to Ryan and the Sombra, Atlanta has a ton of ultimates, so they can use like 1 or 2, win that next fight. Sombra doesn't gain a ton of ult charge. We only saw like 2 EMPs come down from Ding on, you know, from point A pretty much all the way to the end of the map. So didn't really get as much value as we've seen from him in the past on Sombra. So it'll be the Dragons on offense here. They're going to go with a traditional triple tank, triple support yet again.
Pokepo going to give him a bit of a tickle there. And it was actually Gumsu that got knocked to the low ground here. That's going to be really awkward for him. Gumsu's going to get harassed constantly by Darko. And I don't think he can really do a whole lot about it. No. The 1v1, the winner is Darko. And the Dragons, I mean, that was over before it started, having their right heart knocked off. Great play, I think, from Masa, it likely was to knock him off the edge.
We'll see the Dragons set up for another attack yet again once they get Gamsu into play. As Dogman did a nice job hitting a nade on the Pokepo there, keeping him alive. So they get Dogman up on this high ground. As you know, they're not playing a D.Va on offense, Shanghai, so no real opportunity to challenge him up here.
That's nasty.
Big biotic grenade.
But I've seen this before.
When you have the D.Va in play, they gotta eat those nades. But it's just like the last time. The nade gets through for Atlanta, but the Dragons still get the early pick off.
They do have the primal rage though there, and Diem, despite having a bubble, wasn't able to keep himself in a position that he wanted to be in. Diem actually sat teetering on the edge of the map before finally falling down for a long time. It's a long stagger, a long time before the Zaya is going to return to the fight, but maybe they won't need it. No, the Shanghai Dragons are able to get it done with Gamsu and Ding primarily. The D.Va play from him looked very good in the late stages of that fight. And again, we see a sick biotic grenade from Dogman, but there's no follow-up because Atlanta already dropped to the low ground.
Yeah, I mean, they had the nano boost on Pokepo as well. He was playing Winston in that scenario, but Pokepo will change.
This Gamsu, by the way.
Yeah, this will see the Gamsu shatter. Right around the corner here. Next to 3 players, pretty big. You get Dogman there and Masa.
Yeah, get yourself a main tank who blocks self-destructs and then hits big shatters. Again, no right half of the rain hurt them there. Just the Winston. Pokepo switched now, though, a little bit earlier than he had last time. And the Rain realized they really need to drain the clock a little bit more to give themselves a shot.
I think Ding uses that self-destruct to create space, but also I imagine he's going to switch off of this. It'll be a fast push here from the Dragons. It'll be Soundberry that comes through from the Rain to keep them alive through that DM grab.
Now, both teams really pulling out the stops here. Every ultimate really being used. Both teams went for the Graviton Surges here, but the big difference maker likely was the Transcendence that Luffy had.
So Dogman's playing on that first point, right? So no opportunity to build up towards the Transcendence, playing the Ana. So he was a little bit behind in terms of ult charge, and just like I was talking about, Ding uses that self-destruct, plays that fight as D.Va goes back. Now we'll play Sombra.
Shanghai Dragons still will need to win one more fight to get themselves to that 5th checkpoint. This is the 2nd playthrough on this map. Both of these teams really like pushing it to extra time by the looks of things. It's Gamsu's shatter that is probably where you want to be looking. Pokepo's going to have one himself pretty soon. There, Youngjin looked like he was a little bit too deep for a moment, but managed to get out. Koma, though, was not so lucky. Earth Shadow attempt from Gamsu, but only Erstu was hit by Pokepo's hack for the time being, but it's too late. The hack had to come earlier where Gamsu had the shatter. Now things are looking dicey for the Dragons.
Yeah, you know you can play aggressive here if you're Atlanta, because no way Ding is close to an EMP. DM uses a grab there towards the end.
It's buttoned by Darko.
Gets nothing as it goes into Darko's matrix. So Atlanta gets a hold basically right before where the point B checkpoint is.
Listen, guys, give me bubbles and give me all your healing. And don't worry about it. Let me carry. Let me play the Winston. Let me get primal. Masa. Sound barrier. Me. Just me. The Atlanta Rain had to be feeling good about that one. Actually, it could have been pretty rough. We saw the hack coming on to Pokepo a little bit later in that fight. Had it come just a bit earlier, that Earth Shatter from Gamsu would have connected with more than just the one player. Could have been devastating.
And, I think if you're Shanghai, there has to be a conversation here. Do you play the D.Va on first point? It looks like they will. But because of where the payload is if a fight results in the same thing as last time, you're going to go into the next fight with no shatter percentage, and you're going to have Ding probably go over to Sombra and not have any charge on that. So, you know, you're giving up 2 ultimates, which could end up being a deciding factor if Atlanta's able to break this quick.
Reinhardt on the approach here from the Reign, which is pretty standard. So I expect to see them go for something similar to Volskaya, Matt. Say, hey, you're playing a Winston-based composition, come and fight us. See how that works out now.
I just think if you're Shanghai, you needed to consider maybe playing Ding on the Sombra here. And even if it doesn't give you the best chance of holding here, point A, you win a fight or 2 with the Sombra, and then you lose it, you still have the EMP as the fight goes on, right? It still sets you up in a good space in the overall sense of the game. Big boot there, knocking Pogbo down from the high ground as the Reinhardt is standing solo on the point. As soon as that happens, the rest of the Dragons just push right on through.
Yeah, now the Reign know how it feels. That's exactly what the objective is there generally. When there's a Reinhardt-based composition trying to play from the high ground, get rid of the Reinhardt and then punish Xayah. That's exactly what the Dragons did, so 3 minutes left. Atlanta probably still feeling fine right now.
Yeah. Well, Atlanta knows, I mean, they have, with the way the Dragons will play, they have to know if they win one fight, they're going to switch off of the Winston, switch off of the Diva. So you have an advantage in terms of 2 ultimate slots. You have to know if you're Atlanta, you have a very good chance to take the map if you can force them off the switch.
Looks like the Reign were trying to force something from the Dragons there as well, maybe some over-aggression.
They're going to play the low ground here.
Poco actually turned his back on the Dragons there, oddly enough. So this is the Primal Rage. This is what's going to hurt them here. Maybe that's what they were trying to bait out beforehand, but Gumsu didn't use it. There won't be a nano boost, by the way. There's no Arna here for the Dragons, so Gumsu's going to have to make do with the health that he currently has. But Poco's gone down, so Gumsu got what he wanted. Split apart the Reign with the Primal Rage, and then allow your teammates just to pick them off one by one.
Yes, Atlanta tries to go for the low ground, like they kind of wrap all the way around, like underneath that top ridge, but the Primal just is too much to deal with. I mean, too much displacement. Poco gets knocked back onto the point. They just kind of deal with him with Youngjin, and now the Dragons have built up some ultimates. So Atlanta going to have to invest pretty heavy in this fight to be able to take it.
So this time to the low ground again. Atlanta's starting to run out of options and time. And where does Pope send his Graviton Surge? He has to wait for the Dragons to commit, and he has to hope that it won't get eaten from over his left shoulder. DM's able to get his grab off first, but no one was caught in that either, so very odd start to this fight. Ding desuited now. Baby Bay, yes, they managed to chase down the desuited Diva, so this is where he starts to think about using that Graviton Surge in earnest now. Transcendence from Coma, but everyone's going to get caught together. Even the Sound Barrier used everything coming out for the Shanghai Dragons, but it still won't be enough. Losing the Diva when they did, and Atlanta had saved key ultimates. Now the Shanghai Dragons start to stress a bit more. The Reign will get a modest extension and will continue to push across the map.
Yeah, they save Sound Barrier and they build up to another rally pretty much with Earth's Run Brigitte. So if you're Masa, you know that they're not going to get that EMP very soon. As if you do a good job not preventing the to get in, poke a lot, just do some damage.
Zone him off.
Your best chance if you're Atlanta may be to use the Sound Barrier aggressively, win this fight, and then you get really close. It's a desperation push from the Dragons at the end.
You can see where the goal is here. So the Atlanta Reign essentially do need to get to the end of this stage, and there may only be one fight to do it. The Dragons are biding their time. They're giving the Reign plenty of space here. This is allowing the Reign to poke and accrue a lot of their key ultimates, and they're going to have all 3 support ultimates online. Yeah, the Dragons may not have any.
And Ding isn't really like kind of going behind enemy lines trying to poke as well. You know, he's only about 50% of the way there towards that EMP.
Goes to Hacked again. He's getting pretty used to that this series. Famasa has a Sound Barrier. They found Coma, though. This has got to be the floodgates opening. The Dragons give us a bit of Shanghai action to finish off the round. The Atlanta Reign take the 3rd map in the series, make it 2 for them, and set themselves up to end the series come map 4.
Atlanta did a nice job once they switch compositions, use their ultimates aggressively, push through. They complete the map. Atlanta 1 map away from beating the Dragons. We'll see if they can do it after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, now connecting 99% of Overwatch League fans. Catch your league on America's network, T-Mobile.
into the iris.
Shanghai have to be pretty flustered and maybe a little bit frustrated after the way that Numbani map went. The fact is, Matt, both teams had very little time for their overtime pushes, and well, the Rain managed to snowball off of capturing point A.
And I also think you see when you play Sombra, like, look, I know the hacks are great, individual hacks are great, but you know, the damage is all right. I mean, the damage isn't really going to like just kind of tear through people. Havana, potentially last one in the series. If you are not being able to farm those EMPs quickly, you're not really getting a ton of value. And when Dink has to play D.Va on point A and then switch off, there's not really a defense for the Dragons as they went from point A to point B both times. I mean, that time, they just overwhelmed with so many ultimates to pressure them off of the point where you'll see it down towards the bottom right of your screen. They just kind of get pushed all the way off. They try and go in for the kill on a poke flow, the Transcendence comes through, and you see, I mean, they just have to back up.
Yeah, that Urge shadow that pretty much zones them and lines them up there. And you saw that Ding was trying to get in there, but he was remaining visible for the most part. He wouldn't have wanted to reveal himself until he absolutely had to. So we're on Havana here. The Dragons attack, and the Rain are playing the characteristic, very close-up defense composition here. Never Batiste in the mix.
And not a lot of space for Sombra to do work here. I know once this kind of opens up, Sombra's really good here on Havana, but right here at the beginning, Baby gets low, has to back up. And
nice little immortality filled there. It took eyes off Baby for long enough for him to get a little bit of healing, but the Atlanta Rain don't really seem to have the staying power, and the Shanghai Dragons are relentless.
I was talking with the analyst in the back. There's not a downside to taking the fight on the cart. Because, like on Dorado, right, the bad part about taking the fight on the cart sometimes, that some teams don't do it, is that you kind of allow the team to get through that really tough choke. On Havana, the tough choke isn't up until like this next bend of the cart, and you're going to get the fight here if you're Atlanta anyway.
Not good.
Ponderously, the cart moving now over towards this bend, and the Atlanta Rain look at them very quickly, trying to assert themselves and take space, draw the line in the sand, so to speak. Who's going to help Popo here? He might be in a bit of trouble, especially with an Orb of Discord Omen and Erster having his immortality field taken away. Popo now again is going to get completely crushed. It was the EMP, of course, that connected, and really there was no way anyone was going to escape that one. Dogman trying to evade DM as long as he could, eventually gets caught by the swing of Gumps, whose hammer, and the Atlanta Rain unable to come up with anything on this defensive attempt either.
Yeah, and I wonder if we see Erster switch off of the Batiste onto, yeah, I was going to say either Brigitte or the Ana here. As, that'll be a point A take for Shanghai. Atlanta, they hold on defense for a little bit on top of the cart, but after that, really nothing. Interested to see how they get used to the Sombra here from point B to C. As inside the warehouse, so close quarter, where like you're not going to be able to get like a hack on a Zen for free or anybody for free. So many players close quarters. It looks like the hack comes from the low ground to the high.
He just walks up and hacks Darko. And guess what? Darko can't eat the grab that was going to be forthcoming. Very clever, very cute. Left being knocked down, but there it is. 5 players knocked down by the Earth Shatter. It had to be a sound barrier from the Atlanta Rain to even keep themselves in a fight. And it looks like that in itself may have been enough. Very fortunate that support ultimate was available because that shatter looked like a crushing one.
And they wanted to push forward because DM is so high charged, but not able to push forward. Get the elim there. You see him almost chunk down Baby. He's got grab here to use.
DM trying to force back Poco here. He just lets the grab go straight away, and now Dogman actually gets fortunately pulled up onto the high ground by the Graviton Surge.
Oh, they're able to just disengage here from the EMP.
Had that transcendence there, that was pretty important. Don't know how they were able to back away from that way, but it's just as well the Dogman opted to get grabbed. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to get onto the high ground as quickly as he did.
And then Dako did a nice job just deterring some of the follow-up, launching one of those defensive self-destructs towards the backside of the Graviton Surge. See Dako just sitting up on the, he's up on the high ground above here. Yep, there he is. Gets hacked up by Ding. D.Va's like the #1 target for Ding to farm up that EMP quick.
Yeah, not a ton I guess that can be done about that Sombra. When you're D.Va, you can interrupt the hack for some damage maybe, but the Atlanta Rain again, they are looking like they are easing into this little corner position, man.
Yeah, it was a solo shatter there that comes out from Popo on Luffy, and have nothing to keep him up. You did end up burning your rally there, so pretty big hold for Atlanta as Atlanta trying to build up that war chest of ultimates yet again.
Well, they're not in bad shape in all fairness. Maybe they close to a Graviton Surge.
They're gonna try and go high ground here.
Now,
maybe shatter around
you still need to filter through a very small opening. Yeah, the Rain do know this is happening. You saw Popo just peek around the corner. You have to commit to this now if you're Shanghai, otherwise you're wasting a little bit too much time. So Gamster gets into the back line. Somehow they get Popo out of the picture here, but the Graviton Surge is still there. Popo returns with a flourish, and Youngjin splattered on the wall.
And a part of the reason they go right side to the high ground, they're trying to open up an avenue for Ding to create some space for himself, a different look. Dako and Dogman have played this so well, though. I know Ding gets on the cart, and he's going for a hack on a Dogman up on the high ground. Dako looks down, breaks it up quickly, and then he translocates out. And then Dako, with the Discord on Ding, just flies all the way back here to basically the spawn, finds him, takes him out. Really nice play between Dako and Dogman.
It's got to be an EMP out the window here for Ding at some point, surely. First shatter attempt there. There's a transcendence, though, for the Shanghai Dragons. It was 3 people connected with by Popo's hammer. And Ding has to translocate out. This is where the Rain can really start pressuring now in a 6v5 scenario. 4 players caught out, though, by the EMP, but the sound barrier was still able to be applied to them. Unfortunately, having the Zenyatta or the Zarya there are your 2 main sources of damage. DM charged out by Poco, but he had no one to help him finish the kill on the Zarya. So DM keeps his charge and has a grab for next fight.
Yeah, it was still a pretty good hold there for the Rain. A minute to go on the clock. You can come back in the next fight. You'll have a grab. You'll end up with a shatter. The bad part is you don't have any support ult to really deal with this grab that's going to come down from DM. You have his sound barrier from Coma, so...
Do you just hold ultimates here if you're Atlanta? Are you trying to concede this point now, knowing what you might be running into?
This map's pretty defensive favored. Like, you feel pretty bad if they get it all the way, starting to go to point C, but... I think it all depends. Like, when the fight really kicks off, if you built up maybe another ultimate or 2, you can invest. But what you have now, which is what they're trying to do, they're trying to just burn clock here.
Baby Bay, solo grab for him. He's forced to give himself a bubble. Popo jumps up there. That's really clever. Popo able to give Baby Bay the shielding that he needs, but Baby Bay is discorded on 1 health. He's sitting in the back corner. He goes down. Ding's finally managed to get him. Dako desuited now, so effectively the Rain are down 2 players. Let's make it 3 with Popo eventually being brought down, and that will be the Atlanta Rain having to give up the second checkpoint now, Matt. One way or another, they had to do it. Fortunately for them, it's just the rally that they have to commit here.
Unfortunate for the Atlanta Rain is, that fight, if they're able to kind of stall a few other seconds, Poco does a pretty good shatter. You had sound barrier coming online, you had transcendence, you had grab, you could have potentially held that, but and they have to be pretty fortunate, although not a great hold on point A. They do very nice from point A to point B.
I mean, that's not a great sign for the Rain. If your Sombra, as the Dragons, goes into the backline, tries to assassinate, gets out, and you're still able to get rid of the enemy Reinhardt when you're technically a player down fighting the frontline fight, not good. And that cart is going to be getting close to the bridge here. Now, Atlanta Rain, how far can they really afford to push out here?
A lot of line of sight here, the break potentially the EMP is they're going to be able to get the sound barrier off.
Oh, they get the sound barrier. Ursa's able to turn around and get rid of Ding. DM gets his grab eaten by Darko for the second time this series, if I'm not mistaken, and Darko gets 2. And that should be enough. Gamsu now is going to get knocked off. The Discord Orb was there. They will probably stagger Luffy a little bit here as he had his rally armor, which just ended up prolonging his demise at the end of the day. And there's 16 seconds left in the round. The Rain, well, they've got some support ultimates at least. Matt's more than we could say for them before.
Every time Atlanta needs a play to go their way, it's Darko, man, that comes up with it. The eat on the grab of DM, and then the self-destruct kills. There goes Ding. Don't have that Sombra in. So it looks like the Dragons be as far as they move the cart.
Yeah. Well, 2 teams that have only 1 gear. It's going forwards and fast. The Atlanta Rain are able to slow down the Shanghai Dragons enough to keep them out of that last part of the map. But as we've already seen, neither team has seemed to be particularly good when it comes to defense. The Shanghai Dragons now will have to hold out, otherwise the series will be over. Still a chance for a map 5 here for Shanghai, but they were getting good value, I feel, on this map out of Ding. Some good moments there.
The thing that may save Shanghai on this map is how good their point A attack was. Like, it was so fast. It's usually teams, they play close, you get the second fight, a defensive team wins a fight or 2, right? Atlanta didn't win any, so you got a really fast time. Atlanta's A to B defense inside the warehouse is really good. I mean, you brought that clock down from, almost like 5 minutes down to basically OT. That's why they're able to get the hold at the end.
Yeah. And this has been a slugfest. I mean, Shanghai have 25 kills, Atlanta have 26. Both teams have the same number of eliminations, so very evenly matched across this map so far in particular. I mean, Coma's only died twice. Darko has only died twice on the Atlanta Rain. And if you think of all the team fights they lost because of the payload pushing across the map, it's quite good.
I think Atlanta right now, you see the composition they run, obviously not going to be what they run. Potentially, I thought you were going to have Dogman play the Orisa here to try and get like a halt, maybe a hook combination. As Ding is playing up on the high ground here.
I mean, this is where you want to be as the Sombra,
yeah,
right?
You need stealth.
You can break line of sight with that small wedge on the top of that roof.
They don't go for, they don't go for a hall hook. They don't see anyone around the corner. Now they come around the corner, stun on a Ding. That'll force them to back up.
Yeah, due diligence there from the Atlanta Rain, make sure that there's no Sombra harassing them constantly from behind. Dogman, Baby Bay went for the spy check, but Masa went for the chase up there. Baby Bay got hacked for a moment. Still, Poco's able to shield out a lot of this damage, and Darko's happy to take some. Just going to feed his healer's ultimates at the end of the day. Speaking of which, Luffy is, he's cruising along towards that first Transcendence. And Baby Bay constantly being harassed. Ding now, his hack doesn't connect, and Gamsu gets removed. Yep. This is the Atlanta Rain going aggressive when they know that Ding is futzing around behind their line.
And what they do is they just boop Gamsu right back into them. No Diva to fly in with the Matrix. The bubble comes down. But if you're Atlanta, just burn it down. Even if you give DM some charge, who cares? Just, you get Gamsu out of the fight. Luffy with a very fast Transcendence here. I wonder if Atlanta has any ideas to be able to farm this ultimate so quick.
Oh, almost. 2 minutes to go, and straight away the Atlanta Rain are going to keep getting aggressive. Dogman was hacked there, and he's kind of ticked off about that, I think. Not much can be done, but Popo's forced to back up here. That was because there was a Transcendence. I wonder if Dogman goes for his now and they continue fighting. It looks like
back up.
Discretion is the better part of valor.
Yeah,
the Georgians.
You lose Baby Bay, you have to back up here. Can't double down without the Zarya in the mix, so grab 4 dragons here. They also are going to end up with their EMP.
Yep, EMP, man.
Dogman's got to hide. He can hide inside the building here.
That's exactly what he's doing. You can see his little highlight there, just behind where Baby Bay is standing. But the Rain have to make this look convincing. They need to get the Dragons to come forward aggressively here. Ding! Whoa, Ding actually got knocked down there. Popo hit the shadow and got the enemy Sombra while they were invisible. I don't think you realize that, and Ding is actually able to escape in the end, but they get Gamsu. Now the Dragons, do they bother investing? An EMP went out there, Reinhardt? Well, no way they're gonna do it now. That was insane from Poco.
And Ding was actually putting some pressure on a Dogman, so what they decided to do is just use the Transcendence, push on forward, and then as soon as the Transcendence comes from Dogman, Ding is actually trying to get back to the team outside of stealth, and then that's when the 360 shatter comes down from Poco from behind. So
did he 360 and then walk away?
Yeah, he did. They didn't really follow it up.
No, didn't have to. 4-player on that EMP, and again, I mean, things had a few of these where the EMPs are good, but he lingers and he gets picked off very quickly. The Rain and players in general are getting good at responding, but look how low Atlanta were.
Yeah.
Their healers weren't able to keep them topped up, and even the fight looked good for them. Eventually just got too low.
I mean, they had the sound barrier go off, just was not enough to just sustain through everything. Dogman gets picked off a little bit later. Daco's gonna get demeched here. You're gonna lose a few players, so
Dear.
stagger out here for Atlanta. You'll be able to get grouped up though. Still have Rally to engage.
If you're Atlanta, are you just thinking, please let us get through this part of the map without getting EMP? I mean, they have to know that that's not on the plate right now, and if they
Well, they know if they lose another fight, the fight after they're dealing with an EMP. So this fight's huge.
Still going to get aggressive though. Gamsu went for an Earth Shatter. Looks like Earth was the only one that was actually knocked down by that one. Sound barrier here for most of the Shanghai Dragons, but the Atlanta Rain are going to continue pushing forward now with that Transcendence. Note Luffy at the bottom of your screen here. He's not been noticed yet, but all he can do is walk out onto the payload and get taken down. The bright side for the Shanghai Dragons is, Matt, is that Ding got a lot of ultimate charge in that fight. Spent a lot of time around the fringes, just harassing, not even necessarily trying to get kills, but to charge an EMP.
Yeah, and Atlanta did end up using all their support ultimates there, so won't have anything to get through this DM grab, unless Daco can come up with an E.
That's clever. Baby Bay goes for an early Graviton Surge here. Popo gets grabbed as well, but he's close enough to get damage on the front line of the Dragons. It doesn't seem to matter though. Baby Bay took a lot of damage early. He's down, and now the Rain know next fight they're walking into an EMP, and they still won't have support ultimates.
Yes, Daco was not playing towards the front to try and eat the grab, potentially. He was actually just kind of dueling Ding in the back, but you know, in the time that he is dueling Ding, he kind of feeds over the EMP over to Ding. So, EMP available here for the Dragons next fight. Still pretty good time for Atlanta though, even though I know Atlanta down in terms of ultimates in this fight.
After they
still
get
for the
EMP,
long game. After they get
fight.
EMP, they have a lot.
And all remember, they'll get a time extension if they hit their checkpoint, so it's not all doom and gloom here. They're thinking about that EMP though, a lot. 3 players caught by that one, and Popo got blown up straight away. Atlanta do not invest in the ultimates, which is good for them, but nor does Shanghai. Shanghai get a very cheap fight win, and now they're going to burn the clock down to about a minute before the next fight starts.
And they use the EMP early to not allow the Atlanta Rain to get in, build up some of their ultimates, get closer to like a support ultimate, or potentially try and set up a play there. As soon as the EMP goes off, Shanghai, everybody in Atlanta basically just standing there. Shanghai finishes them off, builds up some of their ultimates coming into this next fight.
Around the left-hand side go the Rain. This is a different approach. Circumventing a little bit of that dangerous trek across the brewery floor. What are they looking for here? Looks like they're trying to bait some aggression. That shield is low though. Popo's going to have to hide in just a moment. The rest of his team's going to have to bear the brunt. And that was great timing. Gamsu saw as soon as Popo backed away, he'd get an easy Earth Shatter, and that he did. And now the Atlanta Rain pretty much have one more chance, Matt. And you said they were looking good on time, and it was reasonable then, but maybe not so much now. They are in trouble.
And Masa goes to sound barrier, and Luffy just connects with a headshot, takes him out before the sound barrier can come down and potentially save everybody who got hit with that Earth Shatter. Transcendent, sound barrier, EMP, Crab. It is not looking good for Atlanta right now.
It's going to happen here. Well, not at all. 13 seconds, Ding. Close to another EMP, and why not just drop one in? Look at the patience. He is waiting because Dogman is currently inside of Transcendence. Still a little bit of healing available for the Rain, but then 4 players got hacked by that EMP. Erster down. Master desperately has to just go to the payload, and with the Dragons with a sound barrier, it's impossible for them to lose this fight. There's not going to be any cheekiness. Master's snuck onto the payload though. He's pushing it, but it looks like the Dragons are aware of that. They do know. Double back and they deal with him, and that was it really for the Rain. No other options. Erster trying to get there. He at least gets a pile driver onto the payload, but gets blown up awfully fast, and there it is. We've got ourselves a map 5. The Shanghai Dragons strike back here on Havana, and we are going to get maximum Overwatch for today. There is no doubt about it. It's one of those ones that we're going to remember. A slugfest. These 2 teams may be tired, but they got one more map to go. We'll see you for that in just a moment.
Огонь по готовности! Огонь по готовности! Огонь по готовности! Apagando las luces. Огонь по готовности! Apagando las luces.
Listen, I promised you at the start of this game that we'd have another epic match of Overwatch on our hands, and we got another map 5 here, Matt. 2 from 2 so far. Not too bad, if I do say so myself. But we expect these two teams, as far as the standings are concerned, are not that far apart. And they're both fighting, ideally, for a guaranteed spot into the playoffs in that top 6.
I mean,
Neither have it yet.
Look at what a win does for Atlanta, right? It kind of builds a little bit of a cushion. They get to 8-9. They would pass the Defiant. You know, with the way Fusions are playing, you think they could potentially make a run for that spot. They can start to charge down. A loss here for Atlanta drops them behind, a few teams. I mean, they go down into where the Hunters are. I mean, this is a massive game 5.
Yeah, that map
for the Atlanta
differential
Reign.
being 0 for the Reign could be quite fortuitous, right? Like you said, one more win puts them right back up in the mix. Even a Spark -1 at 9-6. This guy on your screen, Matt, he's been making the plays, and we talked about how important Sombra is in a lot of these competitions. Some of those, EMP setups have either not worked or he's been shut down during it, but him managing to get EMPs in those fights on Havana was definitely what broke the back of the Reign.
I think you see really in this series, how strong Ding is on Sombra, and then I think how strong Sombra is as a hero, as when we have seen the Dragons not really run the Sombra, and he's playing whether it's Pharah or D.Va. You've seen the Atlanta Reign win a lot of those fights, take it to him. It's really been his Sombra that's made the difference today in this match.
So how do you force the team to stop playing Sombra and play D.Va instead? Do you just have to hope there's a map that necessitates?
Yeah, I think you're really a lot of it's map dependent. I think.
Sure.
I think some maps obviously favor certain heroes over others. Like Numbani Point A, right, where on defense, you have to almost
you just
have
need
the
that
D.Va in there,
aerial
right?
mobility.
Here
seems pretty good for Sombra this map.
Yeah, but I mean they are 0-3 here on Nepal, so have not had the best results. Well, I mean it's good for Pharah, it's good for Sombra. You will have to, potentially on what stages come out, maybe you'll see a Risa Hogg come into play. But kick things off though, the Dragons just continue to run that Sombra. So, Atlanta did a good job earlier in the series, when they were mixing it up a little bit. They had Dogman play the Moira, they were playing Samana, they were doing a nice job. This time they're going to go with Zen, Brig, Lucio, your traditional GOATS composition here.
Well, Dogman hacked early on here. That's kind of rough because it doesn't really give Atlanta the ability to choose where they're discording so much. They kind of just have to deal with where the orb was. 1-for-1 trade though early, Darko desuited. What do they get out of Darko's aggressiveness? Nothing really, and no, the Dragons are able to wipe them off now. And yeah, like you said, Matt, the Dragons haven't won this map before, but that just seemed pretty straightforward theory with the, triple support Sombra.
I mean, 2 hacks there for Ding, you're able to farm up 60% of EMP, and this is going to be an uphill battle for the Reign. Youngjin can get Rally during this fight. Rally, you may not even need EMP at that point, then you're just using EMP. With how control points go, you know, that we could be final fight territory right after that. Could be a tough point here for Atlanta.
Must have got hacked. Youngjin getting an Inspire proc, but also his rally available with that whip shot. He's going to use it immediately here. This might have been over-aggression, though, from Shanghai Dragons.
It's a huge kill from Ursa on the Ding. I mean, Ding's alive right now. He's got that EMP. So the Ursa using his rally now, getting aggressive, and Dako with another eat of a grab there.
3. Transcendence now for the Atlanta Reign, and they've done everything right in this fight, Matt. From getting rid of the Sombra early to punishing an aggressive Reinhardt in Gamsu to eating a grab. Perfect stuff for the Atlanta Reign. And they still have ultimates left over now. Ding has gotten to his EMP. Outside of that, though, sound barrier from Coma, there'll be an Earth Shatter from Gamsu. Those 3, the ones to watch in this next fight. The Reign have a comparable arsenal of ultimates.
They do have that high ground as well. So, you know, with the high ground, if the EMP comes through, might be able to kite it a little bit. It looks like want to play close. The EMP comes down, but you do get some ults off.
Ding got caught in the grab, Matt. I didn't think that was the intent necessarily from the Atlanta Reign. They wanted to catch the rest of it. It was just bad timing. So, yeah, the Atlanta Reign get EMP'd, but they hold all of the follow-up elements in one place with that Graviton search, including Ding, who just gets, well, mashed.
And now with both teams coming into this next fight, I mean, you have the Earth Shatter Sound Barrier combination.
A great grab.
Like, yeah, really nice play there from Baby Bay.
Yeah, I guess they're working with an Earth Shatter. That's about it, right?
Ding's getting a touch here on the point here, so Dako's just going to jump down.
Careful, Gamsu. Very aggressive here. Pushes up. Oh, nicely done. Popo, he went for an Earth Shatter. He got interrupted by the enemy Brigitte of Youngjin, and now Gamsu is able to turn it around. Suffice to say, his Earth Shatter actually connected, and in a big way. The Atlanta Reign, though, get themselves at 74%. Shanghai Dragons find themselves behind, but I have an EMP. Defensive EMP, he would be devastating.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have the grab as well. So for Shanghai, you can, if Atlanta comes high ground, you can use it the same type of way. And it's much harder to like hide here if you're like Dogman to use the Transcendence with the EMP coming through.
Yeah. And that was so brutal. I mean, Gamsu baited Popo into going for an Earth Shatter by going aggressive, and then he got stunned out of it. So Atlanta just lost a lot of their tools. Ding just trying to find out where he wants to enter this fight from. Okay, he's just going to walk straight up and door to the front door, but that was maybe a little bit hasty because he doesn't connect with Dogman with an EMP, so it allows Atlanta to still heal through a lot of this damage, but so that it necessitates the grab at least. But that's fair.
But the issue is that like the teams are so good now at focus firing down the Reinhardts is that the Transcendence comes down from Dogman, but Popo's just not able to live through it. So he just gets burned down. We're already at 94%. Looks like Popo's just trying to charge in, get a touch on the point, get tacked on the way there. To be the Dragons who take our first point here.
Oh, Matt. Atlanta have had a rough run in map 5 as well. Over the last few weeks, they just do not have a good record when it comes down to tiebreakers. I mean, this would be so frustrating, right? They did manage to get the better of New York, of course, but the shock was map 5. The Titans, they didn't quite get there. I mean, losing to the Dragons here, I mean, they're trying to keep their heads above water. You know, we spent so much time at the start of this game talking about how scary they are, what they're doing to these top teams. You don't consider Shanghai part of that list, right? They're middle of the table, as are the Reign, and that's where Atlanta need to be getting wins if they want people to take them seriously. Flash in the pan performances against top teams are great, but you need the W's.
So it'll be the Dragons. They're gonna put Ding on to Diva here. So you're gonna play the Winston version of Triple Tank, Triple Support. Interesting comp that comes out for the Reign. Be Baby Bay on Sombra. They're gonna play Sombra May with an Ana, Lucio, and then they're gonna play the Orisa Roadhog combination. So you get
that was nasty.
Yeah, so you get Dako on the Hog. He gets knocked off the map there by Coma, but May very difficult to dive. Same with the Roadhog, Orisa as well.
Popo was in a little bit of trouble there. Quick healing coming out now with that biotic grenade from Dogman. The problem was Popo kind of got rolled over the top of while Erster was in ice block there. He wasn't actually generating any threat as May while he was healing, so the Dragons are able to take the point here. The Reign, their composition says we want to capture the point and then keep it, but they've done neither of those things here.
They're going to use a nano boost onto the May here, so Erster gonna use that effect to try and hit anybody, but Gamsu uses Primal Rage, lives on through it. They were trying to freeze him down.
Not working.
No, this has not worked for Atlanta thus far. As the Atlanta composition is one that they want to take a lot of real estate on the point. They've not been close to doing so.
So is it Ursa that's going to make the switch here? No. Yup.
They've been getting picks though. Like they've been getting a first pick. It's just they're not making any progress forward.
Well, we have Blizzard and Holahonk, which is a non-bow. They do not work together. Baby Bay going to have an EMP here. Dogman goes down first here again. It's the Dragons that take the initiative, Matt. They sneak in and they find that first pick. A solid EMP there, though, by Baby Bays, now allowing them to pick up Luffy. He would have had his shield stripped from him. Been very vulnerable at 50 HP. Darko right now has to stand around and reload and hope not to get knocked off the point. That's his biggest fear, is Roadhog in this case normally. DM, no way he's getting away from this one. Nice ice wall placed up by Ursta there, and Darko can return to the point.
Good stall though here from the Dragon.
Koma caught there. Oh! Interrupted! And there it is. Darko over the edge. Comes to appears at just the right time. The Dragons are still in control of this point now, and Atlanta are actually going to lose this fight. That's a disastrous result for Atlanta.
And Koma ends up using the sound barrier there towards the end when Baby Bay uses his EMP right away. So now it's going to be DM with the grab. I think if you're the Dragons, you can play close. Let's say Baby Bay goes to touch. You can just double back, pick him up off the point.
Early grab here. This is going to keep the rain off the point. They might not have a chance to touch it at all here. Dogman is able to get clear. Pokepo is able to walk out. He had that fortify. Going to set himself up on the point now, but dealing with both Koma and Gamsu, there is really not a lot he can do about it at all. Luffy eventually going to find the kill on the Shanghai Dragons in map 5. They triumph over the Atlanta Reign, and Baby Bay's head in his hands. He knows they had ample opportunity to take this series away, and now that tentative position they kept at mid-table may be beyond them.
And this is tough for Atlanta. I mean, the Dragons squeak away with a win here today. They did not look that good against the Atlanta Reign. The Atlanta Reign played another top team, very close, but still another loss.
I would almost say the Houston Outlaws looked like they made better use of the Sombra pick today in general. I mean, we saw Yongjin, he thought about the Doomfist now and then, just didn't really want to commit to it. Much more brig play from Shanghai, and now we're seeing a bit of divergence in the comps that these teams are playing. The Atlanta Reign really tried to stick to their guns. You saw they switched, they went the Mei, they went the bunker setup with the Orisa. They tried to make Sombra work, but again, against the Dragons, you have to get up pretty early in the morning to out Sombra, the Sombra Masters. Everyone looked very good there. Gamsu had a fantastic final map as well.
And I think for me, it was really, the Havana map that got away from the Atlanta Reign. I think that was the toughest one. Enough hearing from us, though. We can go down to Danny on the floor with Ding.
Mitch and Matt, thank you very much. What is up, everybody? I am here with Ding from Shanghai Dragons. Congratulations, amazing job as always. Now, Shanghai Dragons was actually one of the first teams to really utilize the Sombra Goats, and now because the Sombra Goats is becoming a norm, even today we saw Houston Outlaws using the Sombra Goats to defeat San Francisco Shock. As one of the first teams to really utilize that composition, how does that make you feel to see many good teams actually turning to Sombra Goats to get the win? 아무래도 요즘 들어서 좀 더 솜치가 판을 치는 이런 오버워치 리그에서 원래 상위 드론즈는 예전부터 솜치를 좀 많이 써왔잖아요. 이제 좀 잘하는 팀들, 못하는 팀들, 뭐 아무튼 오버워치 리그 팀들이 솜치를 많이 쓰는 것 같은데 좀 원래 처음부터 했던 팀으로서 좀 느낌이 어떤가요? 되게 좋으신가요? 기쁘신가요?
뭔가 이제 저희가 처음부터 솜브라 썼으니까 이제 다른 팀들도 솜브라를 처음부터 다시 시작해야 되는 3탱 3일이 아니라 솜브라를 처음부터 시작해야 되니까 뭔가 저희가 유리해서 기분이 좋은 느낌?
So I want to say that I do feel great because we have been using Sombra Goats for so long, and for teams that haven't used Sombra Goats before and they are switching over to Sombra Goats, it's different from the regular 3-3 composition. So they are actually learning and taking the first step to actually learn the whole Sombra Goats, which is a totally different thing compared to regular 3-3 composition. So we do have the upper hand. Alrighty, and also, because you said it does make you feel good to be good in Sombra Goats, I want to ask you this thing. Do you believe Shanghai Dragons has the best Sombra Goats in Overwatch League? 자, 아무래도 방금 솜치를 좀 잘하는 팀이라고 또 되게 기분이 좋다고 얘기를 하셨는데 그러면은 띵 선수가 보셨을 때 오버워치 리그에서 솜치를 제일 잘 쓰는 팀이 상하이 팀이라고 생각을 하십니까?
네.
Yes, short and simple. Love it. Thank you so much, Sting. Mitch and Matt, back to you guys.
There's always something evangelic about Ding being pleased that everyone else is coming around and they're being enlightened about this Sombra composition. And he's right, quite a few teams are using it. They think they're the best. I think they show one particular style, but I do think that Ding is just integral to the way this team is trying to play.
Yeah, and I think when you see them not play with the Sombra, I think they definitely look beatable. I think, though, they do play really well around Ding Sombra. It's the play of the match presented by Omen by HP. It is Ding. So he gave it to him today. He was fantastic on the Sombra.
Look,
very good on the Forest.
We have done this before. The Farah looked very good. He really had eyes for Ursta for a lot of this match in general. I think he identified how important getting rid of that enemy Brigitte was. His Farah is always going to be seen as one of the best at that one. He played a lot of Sombra. So as a result, we see the highs and lows, I think, of his Sombra performance. But overall, it's fantastic.
Eventually, this team is going to need to play D.Va, though. I mean, when you saw him play D.Va, especially in a map like Numbani, it did not look good. I see his Sombra.
Right, we didn't see much of it, to be fair.
Yeah, I mean, it didn't see a lot of it, but when we saw it, it was real quick. As he had 144 enemies hacked, you get 48 limbs off of that. I mean, pretty good stuff there for Ding.
Well, that's the question. Unless you can force the Dragons to go for D.Va, like some maps, like we said, necessitate using some D.Va, but if you can't force them off that one, they'll keep playing the Sombra, and you're going to keep struggling against the EMP. Coming up next, though, Matt, is going to be another exciting match, another clash of two very different styles. The Dallas Fuel take on the Chengdu Hunters, who have been experimenting with two different main tank lines. Some very exciting stuff surely to come out from them. Stick around and won't be far away.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Toyota, official North American partner of the Overwatch League. Toyota, let's go places.
Hey man, what's up?
You need anything for today?
Nah man, I think I'm set.
Big day today, man?
Yeah, huge. Let's play some Overwatch.